Well, right off of Alexis Road from I-75 is the Toledo Speedway, and tomorrow is the final race of the 2024 ARCA Menards Premier Series season. The hardware here for 2024 Series champion, and then of course we've got more hardware, the race winner and the series title, champion owner of course.
She's going to be mad at me, but I know I can outrun her. In 1953, when my grandparents founded our company, they needed somebody to do the typing on the membership cards, and they found a high school girl, and that girl was their daughter, who was my mom, who was there in 1953, and she is still here. So, Susie Drager, salute. We are made up of you and all of the people who have participated in this series over all of these years. Everybody plays a part and everybody is important. And so when we look back and we think about what we've accomplished and all the great drivers and all the great crew people and media people and sponsors and team owners and everybody that's raced with us over all these years, makes us feel really good, because this has always been a collection of people who have passion for the sport and who love it and are here because they want to be here. And we like ARCA being a place where people who want to race want to be here racing with us. So I'll get out of the way, but really appreciate all of you, appreciate what every one of you do. Very, very proud of our history and our tradition, and very proud of our champion, Andres Perez, and our Rookie of the Year, Lavar Scott. Guys, we're proud of you. Glad that you're here and win.
Good luck tomorrow, guys.
Thank you.
All right there, young man. How you feeling tonight?
Old man, can't move like he used to.
You still look pretty good to me.
Oh, you gotta look in the mirror like I do.
So we were talking about some of those years with Benny Parsons back in the day, and I know you were very integral in getting Benny's career started. You've got to have a lot of pride when you see the fact that he is not only a Cup Series champion, a Daytona 500 winner, he's also a NASCAR Hall of Famer and one of the best broadcasters in the world. And none of that would have happened unless he had some help from you.
And a lot of other people. Well, one of them sitting over here, Larry, Bobby Bowsher's dad. On top of that, Jack's birthday was yesterday, Bobby's is tomorrow. But it was tough. We all had jobs. And traveling to some of the places that Markham took us places, you guys would not appreciate what we did. We used to get pit passes off of Brownie's station wagon. No hut, no nothing, a station wagon. And like I said, some of these tracks we went to, and we all had jobs, but these guys were dedicated. And then, when Benny went, I call it big time, and I'm so proud of this hat. Yeah, I'm proud of Benny, and the crew. If you look at that picture over there, I'm the only one left. But it was proud.
And not only were you part of Benny's team, you were part of several other teams, and you're still very active. You still make it to Toledo Speedway from time to time. How do you keep going?
ARCA.
That's it, man.
I love this ARCA from probably 1962 or 63. The first race I ever won was, big race, was a 75-mile race at Flat Rock in a go-kart.
So let's do the math.
Now try that.
75 miles at Flat Rock that's a lot of laps.
That's 200 and something laps if I remember right.
250.
Good, good. Don't remember what I had for breakfast, but.
You remember that.
So you guys gotta appreciate what you have today. And like I said, there's so many people that, I mean, I can remember just, like I said, going places that, I mean, I never heard of. I don't think it was even on the map. But Markham had them racing there, or I had us racing there.
He found all those racetracks, didn't he?
Oh, he did, and like I said, you had to have a dedicated bunch of people. That, like I said, everybody had jobs, and we practiced back then, and we had, well, I'm gonna say it anyway, the best crew chief, not the crew chief, I shouldn't say it that way, the best crew in ARCA back then. We were told when we go to a NASCAR race, some of the guys that I did know, they said, you guys don't belong in ARCA, you belong in NASCAR. And we did run third at Texas Motor Speedway. And that was one of the proudest moments, but the biggest moment was when we won that race in 1969 with the first Talladega to ever win a race. And that made us all proud.
Well,
The
Ralph,
Ford guys come over and ask Benny, you gotta get out of the winner's circle. You gotta go talk to the rest of the Ford guys and ask them how the car drafted. What did the car do this? And I'm talking to Charlie Gray with the Ford rep. I said, Charlie, Benny just led the whole race. He was never behind another car. So what's he gonna tell these guys? And we're talking about Cale, Leroy, and all Pearson and all the rest of them. So pretty proud that day, but thank you, and very proud of ARCA, and you guys should be.
well, Ralph, we are very proud to have you as a former champion of the ARCA Menard Series, and thank you for joining us here tonight. Ralph Young, everybody. Before we bring up our next guest, I'm going to ask Jake if we can swap these microphones out. Championship of the ARCA Menard Series back in 1982, and he's still like a kid today if you hang out with him in the garage area. We're going to bring up Scott Stovall, 1982 ARCA Menard Series.
Buddy.
We get to see Scott every week, most weeks, as an official in the ARCA Menard Series. And Scott, when you came in, you had maybe the enviable or maybe the unenviable task of replacing a driver that had a lot of success in the race car that you were hopping into, and there had to have been a lot of pressure for you to hop in there and compete at the same level that Moose Myers did. And what do you know? A couple of years after hopping in there, you were celebrating as a champion as well.
Well, definitely big shoes to fill. But growing up, riding in the car with Moose, many times we get the car done, we'd want to go practice the car. And I can remember one time at our short track up home of Villa Speedway, Dad called the promoter and said, hey, can we come up? We just got this car done. And he said, well, yeah, but I'm not going to turn the lights on for you. So we went up there and Moose took the car out, got it warmed up. He started taking some laps. Then he says, Jim, I can't see the line on the bottom of the track. Scott, get in there and hold the flashlight. So there I was. There I was holding a flashlight out the right side window across the hood so he could see the line on the bottom of the track. And I'm just enjoying the hell out of it.
Did you have a seatbelt on?
Yeah, right.
Did you have a helmet on?
OSHA didn't approve that.
No, I don't think they would, no.
So we stopped and Dad says, okay, that's good enough. You're 3/10 off the track record.
Good enough.
Other times I'd ride with him, I just remember watching his work his feet.
I wonder how many other ARCA champions got their first experience riding along with another ARCA champion in practice sessions. That's a good story. I had not heard that one before. I do remember as I was a kid coming to some of those races back in 1982, and the Louise Special was always one of my favorite cars to look at. How did that car get its name? How did it get named the Louise Special?
My mom's name is Louise, and Dad put that on the car. It was always Louise Special, and the I in her name was dotted with a daisy. And it was always on the left front fender, right behind the tire, is what we call, the heart of the car. And we went through some turmoil with that a few times. You got to put your stickers there and there. And we told ARCA, we said, well, we understand all that, but if that name gets covered up, that car won't be here.
I'm going to bet you the guy who kept track of those contingency stickers is somewhere in this room, right?
I believe he is.
Well, rules are rules, man.
Rules are rules.
Rules, as you
Rules are made
know.
to be broken.
As you know. What are some of your memories of that championship season? Is there anything that stands out to you as you race for that championship?
Finishing third at Daytona was one of the biggest feats. For us to run, of course, back then there was a lot of Cup guys running and everything, and we got third. That was like winning for us. And then winning the last race of the season at Sandusky.
I was at that race. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute, as a matter of fact. But I remember that race as well. Yeah. Well, Scott, it is great having you here. I know you've had a very long day. Scott has put over 480 miles on the road today, just before he even left to come here. I know it's been a long day. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great rest of your weekend, and take some of this championship weekend excitement in.
Sure will.
And we also have a photo for you. Scott Stovall, everybody. I was there that night with my grandparents, who were the scorers, and they not only kept track of every lap, they also coordinated the card scorers, who would write down the time. Every time a car crossed the line, we would write that on a card, and every car in the race had a score but one. And much like Susie got drafted into doing the membership cards back in 1953, I got drafted into scoring that race for the next two people we are going to bring up here tonight, Bob and Shelley Brevak. It was a long way from that day, that freezing cold night at Sandusky Speedway. Bob and Shelley are our 1990 ARCA Menard Series championship winning driver and car owner. They're celebrating the birth of their grandchild here this weekend, just up the road in Detroit, and we will bring them up if they would like to come up here and join me. They may be outside in the, oh, here they are, right here. All right, Bob and Shelley, come on up. We absolutely have to have you come up. Champion's a champion, Shelley. We make Kathy Venerini come up. So yeah.
Well, I might have won it in 1990, but I'm not 90 yet.
That's right. That's right. So first and foremost, thanks for joining us. It's the first time we've had the opportunity to have you here, and it is fantastic to see you guys. Thanks for coming. Tell us a little bit about why you were even in this neck of the woods to begin with.
Well, my son lives over in Troy, and he's had his second child, a little girl. What's her name again?
Come on, Grandpa.
Yeah. Anyhow, so we're down meeting her. She's only 2 weeks old, and we figured, well, we can kill two rocks with one stone.
That's right. Well, it is great to have you here. As I said, I had the opportunity to score for you that night. I know there is someone here who came to the truck race at Daytona with you guys in 2000, somebody we see in Victory Lane with us quite a bit, and he had the opportunity to tell you a little bit about that. That's got to be really special to know you guys kind of helped grow some of the folks who are still active in the sport.
Well, it is to hear those stories, because he's not the only. That was Kevin. But whenever I go to a cup race, there'll be guys that come up, and you have somebody I think works with you guys, Kumbo.
Yeah, he told me that story too.
I picked them out of the PRI station. They were doing a tire stop, a pit stop. contest. He was just super fast, you know, he'd be sitting on the wall and the other guy was still finishing up.
Nice.
So I got him to start pitting for us. And then, you know, he pitted for us for a couple, 2-3 years, and he was great tire guy.
So I always remember those beautiful blue and yellow race glaze cars that were always up near the front of the field. You did have the opportunity to win a handful of races in the ARCA Menard Series before moving on to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. One of those races at Salem Speedway was 500 laps long. I would be terrified to think about running 500 laps at Salem. How did you pull that one off?
Well, the best part was I led for 367. So.
Didn't have to worry about too much when you're up front that long, do you?
Exactly. All you worry about is, of course, having enough tires to the end. And then the following year, I did this thing. I read somewhere that somebody did this. I took those springs and shocks and put them in a milk crate. And I said, those are our Salem setup because we were so fast. And the next year we put them back in the car, and the car was fast again. But we got in a tangle early in the race, the first 10 laps. The time we got it fixed and everything, got back out there, we were 4 laps down. And the headline in the Speed Sport the following week was Brevak leads the race, comes back from 4 laps down to lead.
Nice.
But we didn't end up winning.
It's a good setup, though.
We did run out of tires.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Anybody who came to an ARCA race at Toledo Speedway in the early 1990s probably got to hear Shelley sing the national anthem here, and she actually volunteered to do that for us this weekend if needed.
Yep.
Shelley, if we need you to, you willing to step out of retirement and sing for us tomorrow if we need you to?
Oh, certainly. You never know. I had that happen actually at Bakersfield, California.
I remember, I was there.
And,
Pensacola?
where they had something come up, and it was like, where, and so certainly,
They came running
I'd be more
around.
than happy
Where's
to.
Shelley?
But I just wanted to say one thing is that when we started racing in '72, it was in USAC. Just not meaning to date myself now, because I know I don't look that old. But women weren't allowed in the pits. Let's start with that.
Especially you.
I had to be the, I'll say cute little girlfriend, and I'm not so sure about the cute part, but I had to be sitting in the grandstand. And then if something happened, like at Milwaukee, you'd have to go down and run under and get to the care center. And it wasn't until Janet Guthrie was the first woman IndyCar driver. And so she kind of paved the way, because if they're going to allow a woman to drive, then certainly they had to have, allow everyone. Before that, and we all just had to wear white. It didn't matter that I had a tube top and I had sandals on. Didn't matter as long as it was white. And that was in USAC days. And then when they had the driver-owner, Bob could have been the owner and the driver, but like the Petties, or the list goes on of driver owners, then if he had to pay to be that, I had to pay to be something else, like a scorer or so it made more sense for us to have a driver owner if you were a couple. And then the other thing about it was that if you went to the ARCA trailer, or you went to the NASCAR trailer, and you had a concern or a question, if you were just a wife, they didn't want to talk to you. But the fact that you were the owner, they had to talk to you. And so that's kind of how that came about.
I can't imagine that you would ever have any complaints, Shelley.
Never.
Yeah.
And
So
we definitely always sent her to do the job.
absolutely.
Yikes.
So as a family, this is something that racing continues on in your family. Your daughter Ashley is still very active in the sport as well.
Yeah, she, right out of college, she took marketing. She was a marketing gal. And right out of Eau Claire University, right straight to Charlotte. In one of her interviews, she worked for Ganassi for 13 years. And then she switched over to 2311 when Ganassi sold out. In her interview, she said, I've been in racing all my life, 35 years. And I'm 35 years old.
Yeah, I say the same thing.
She was in Atlanta when she was 6 weeks old, the first race.
So I tell people that my mother sold programs here at Toledo Speedway when she was pregnant with me, so I use the same line.
Yeah, so they The apple doesn't fall far.
Absolutely does not. And Brent, actually, we have seen him racing here and also doing some video work here as well, haven't we?
Yeah, he still freelances for NASCAR and stuff. They send him around to do stuff when he has, opportunity.
Well, it is really fantastic to see you both here. Thank you so much for joining us.
The question arises, I brought this up with Ron. Am I a NASCAR champion in the ARCA division?
We're going to let him debate that with you, okay? Everybody, give a warm round of applause for Bobby Shelley. And we have a couple of photos for both of you. Shelley, stick around. We got a photo for you and a banner for both of you.
And the female also gets a banner.
All right.
Equal size, equal billing.
One of the things that really makes me feel good is seeing everybody here and how important it is to some of the folks who have been in this room in the past, and giving these flags to Bob and Shelley reminds me of a moment we had last year with Dave Dayton and his wife Ari. Unfortunately, Ari passed away shortly after this past champion celebration, and Ron, I know there's a little bit of a story involving that flag that we presented to her last year.
Yeah, you don't ever know, when you're doing these things, you do them, you have respect for the people that are here, and we present these banners, and you go on down the road. And we invited Dave Dayton back again this year. He was our 3-time champion in the early 70s. And Dave sent back, said, I can't be there. And then we had also sent, Ari's email address is now being monitored by her daughter, Donna Dayton, who is married to Brian Tyler, who is a really good sprint car driver. Donna sent back a photo at her mom's memorial. On the casket was this banner. And it just made us all feel like, what we're doing here is important. And it's important to the people receiving them, but it's important to us to present it to you too as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, it really does mean a lot to all of us that you all are here. Thank you again so much for joining us. Moderate the best that I can. He is a 2-time ARCA Menard Series champion, 1992 and 1994. Let's welcome up to the stage, Bobby Bowsher. And in true Bowsher form, he was here first, about 3 o'clock this afternoon. And he told me he probably will be one of the last to leave in true Bowsher fashion. And he was telling me the story, and they're not here to hear the story, so we can tell it in good faith.
So I can beat up on him.
You can beat up on him a little bit. Of the time his dad woke up at the crack of midnight to leave Springfield, raced all the way up to Michigan International Speedway, was first in line when they opened the gate, and what happened? Bobby, go ahead.
We wasn't first through the gate.
How'd that happen?
Well, and Dad, he was terrible about wanting to be first everywhere that we go. We got to be there. So we're sitting there waiting for the gate to open. As soon as the gate opened, here come flying this truck up. It was Venturini. Went right on by. So I never thought nothing of it, We get in there. Dad's he's steaming over there, boy. He's hot. He told Bill,
Which hardly ever happened. That hardly ever happened.
Well, you don't want to get him going that early in the day because he's bad all day. But anyways, he come back and I said, what happened? He says, I went over there and told him. I said, hey, Bill, I didn't get up in the middle of the night to drive up here and be the second through the gate. He says, I'm going to tell you right now, you do that again and I'll take a knife to every 18 tires on that truck.
And I bet you he meant it.
Well, he absolutely meant it. So I seen Bill later today. He said, man, your dad was really mad at me. I said, well, what do you expect? But yeah, it was like that a lot.
And that was not your only run-in with the driver of the number 25 car over the years.
Here I am going to beat up on him. He's not even
He's not here. We'll relay these stories to him tomorrow. How's that?
Well, okay. Well, yeah, Yeah, I mean, when I first started driving, a lot of people don't know, but I never driven anything in my life. I jumped right in an ARCA car. So, naturally, I was probably in the way. But Bill, he beat the back bumper off my car, I don't know how many times.
Before lap 10.
Yeah, so, I guess that meant I started in front of him, right? But anyways, so we was at Killcare, and that was the first race I ran the Pontiac. I mean, it was early, and the back bumper's gone. Gary gets on the radio, and he ain't mad at Venturini, he's mad at me. He gets on there and says, "What the hell are you doing?" I just telling the story earlier, I don't say nothing on the radio. I mean, Gary will ask me in the middle of a race, no matter where we're racing, he'd say, "Hey, can you still hear me?" And I'll even go by and I just give him one of these because heck with that radio. I only use it when I need it. But he says, let's get effing going. And he says I was never the same after that. So I guess that's what it took.
Got to rouse that driver a little bit. And there were some extracurriculars after that particular race. You weren't involved in any of that, though, were you?
Not at all. I mean, it is what it is. That's when Bob took out Churchill on the front stretch there after the race was over. And a big fight broke out. We was up there, because Gary told me, he said after the race, I don't know if Ron knows this or not, but he says, "Go on up there to the front straightaway. They're liable to give you the win to help with it." I said, "Okay." So I go up there and park, right? So I look at my mirror, and here comes this big guy from Venturini's crew. And I didn't see him after that. So apparently he got intercepted somewhere. So I get out, Ron was mad. They're out in the middle there tussling around. I mean, there's fights going on everywhere. I mean, you can say what you want, Ron, but when we went back the next time, you couldn't. There wasn't enough room for people to stand.
Sold a lot of tickets.
You ain't kidding. What was the headline? The paper said went to a race and a fight, or what?
Went to a fight and a race.
Yeah, went to a fight and a race program.
Absolutely. Of all people, Jerry Churchill. Of all people.
Right. Of all people. But yeah, I think that was the race that kind of changed my.
And that's Killcare Speedway is nowhere near where you live, so there probably weren't any Bowsher fans there that day, anyhow, right?
No, there wasn't no females up there swinging purses or anything. But I know that used to happen a lot.
From time to time. I remember a race here at Toledo Speedway, actually a pretty historic race because it was Frank Kimmel's first win. He had to beat you that night, but you
didn't. That's the problem. He didn't.
Again,
Me and Frank's buddies. I give him hell the last time.
You can take that up with him. But
what went on between me and Ron and Gary, that stays between me and Ron and Gary.
Conversations in the holler stay in the holler. That's the rule.
Well, whatever. I mean, for this story, it's going to be that way.
There we go. So you backed across the start-finish line that night, too. How'd that happen?
I don't know if it was that. I don't think it was that night, was it?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Was it? Well, I mean, you got to get back to the race, though.
Well, I've got my part of the story. You've got your part of the story.
Swear on my mom's life, and she's dead, I didn't run the stop sign.
Here's the man right here.
But they said I did. But that's not the way it happened. But
Do we have any evidence?
If you give me long enough, I'll come up with something.
All right, we may have to revise the record book on that. But in any case, there was a terrific battle between you, Frank, and Weltmeyer. How'd you end up backwards coming to the line?
Well, I think it was on the last lap coming down the backstretch, and I got into 3 trying too hard and just spun out. Well, I'm sitting down there, I said, hell with it. I ain't turning this damn thing around, so I just backed down through there. Well, I caught hell over that, too. I mean...
Which, again, that never happened.
No. I mean, the first thing out of Dad's mouth was, you're going to over-rev the motor in reverse. I said, oh. I mean, I was telling this story earlier about I got in a wreck down here in 3 and 4 straight. He blew a motor in front of me. Man, it hit the wall a ton. So I get out, and he's the first one I see, Dad, right? Dad, bless his soul. I mean, he loved me. I know he did. He never told me, but I know he did. He's the first one I met coming across the grass there.
This is back when the pits were in the infield.
Yeah, and I'm walking down through there, and he says, did you make sure that car was in neutral before they towed it? I said, what? I said, what? Are you kidding me? I said, F that transmission. So I kept on walking, so he sent my oldest brother Jim out there to make sure it was a decent. Never even asked if I was all right or nothing.
Were you okay?
Well, I'm here, ain't I?
Still not answered the question.
Well, we care. We care. You know, friends.
No,
care.
I was all right.
Yeah, good.
I was all right. But yeah, it was just one of many races, good races here at Toledo.
And you had a lot of success here over the years, as well as up at Flat Rock.
Yeah, Flat Rock's where I got my first win. And if I don't remember correctly, I think I was battling Bob Brevak, I think, for the win.
Very likely.
We run side by side for quite a few laps.
Very likely.
But
so, as a two-time champion, and this was back before developmental drivers. This is where you came and made your career here in the ARCA Menard Series.
Well, maybe I was the first development.
You might have been.
Right, because I never drove nothing else, so
That's
I guess
right.
it starts somewhere, right?
That's right. What does it mean to you to be a two-time ARCA champion?
Well, I tell you, now whether this is right or wrong, it means a lot today than it did then. And all I can say is that what a blessing it was that I had the opportunity to do it and to win 2 championships and to have as many good races as we did and race with so many great people that we did and good competitors and strong. Some of them you didn't get along with, but I guess that's the same today, but you know.
Everyone's best friends in our garage area now, just so you know.
Apparently I've been in the hills of Kentucky too long.
Well, I got to tell you, Bobby.
No, well, tell me what.
It's a treat to have you here. We can do this all night. Do you want to keep going?
Huh?
Do you want to keep going? We can do this all night.
Let's talk. What do you want to know?
It just feels like you haven't been around long enough the last 20 years. We got a lot of catching up to do.
No, I tell you, I'd come around a lot more, and I realize this, and I'll be 59 tomorrow.
Happy pre-birthday.
But I still feel like I could do her today, but I know that that's starting to gradually slip away.
We could probably find you a ride tomorrow if you're interested.
Not if it's going to start in park.
Well,
Now you get
somewhere.
out one of those, get the spare car out for one of these 2 guys here.
Lavar, we have a backup car. Booker just left. Booker left. He's out of here.
And believe me, I'd put in the free time if something happened to it.
That's right.
But yeah,
That's right.
But it is what it is. Congratulations to these 2 guys. They deserve it, and that's just about it.
Well, as
Other
someone-
if you want to keep,
As someone who was in the grandstands watching you back in those days, you deserved it too. You had a terrific run of success in the early 1990s. It is an absolute treat to have you here, Bobby. Everybody, Bobby Bowsher, 1990. We got a photo here with you, Bobby. And I'm not joking. We could do that all night. I saw him sneak in the back door. We actually have some drivers who will be racing here tomorrow night. I know this room is full of racers. Alex Clubb sitting in the back. Alex, thanks for coming and joining us. I know you had an appearance at Menards earlier tonight. I also want to give a shout out to Zachary Tinkle, who is in the back of the room. Zachary finished 4th in the Menards Series East points. And one of my favorite people standing at the back, very back door, Tim Goulet. Tim, I know you have had a rough week. It is really great to see you here, buddy. Thank you so much for coming. And come and see me at the end of the night. I want to give you a hug, my man. It's great to have you here.
Brad Smith.
And also, Brad Smith, the ultimate underdog, Brad Smith. Kevin, start number
447, I believe.
447. Brad ran his first ARCA race back in 1988. Still going strong. And my wife's absolute favorite race car driver in the world, Brad Smith. All right, and in true fashion, no one will be surprised that he came sliding in here sideways with the tires smoking. The next driver that we're going to bring up is also a current owner in the ARCA Menard Series. He was our 1995 Series champion. I thought I saw him at the back of the room. Andy Hillenberg, come on up. Andy is another guy that I could probably talk to all night long, so we'll keep it as short as we can.
Charles.
Andy, how are you, my man? All the tires on that 18-wheeler?
I was in my small car today.
All right, small car. Andy drove up today and pulled in the parking lot just as our event was kicking off here in true Andy Gillenberg fashion, right on time.
Yep, made it.
All right, so 1995 ARCA champion. What does that mean to you?
It's a huge honor, of course. This is one of the elite racing series. There's all different kinds of racing, and ARCA is elite. First time I made the headline of Speed Sport was for winning an ARCA race, and this is a really big deal. It's a little funny talking about the 1900s.
There's a lot of people in this room who weren't alive in the 1900s.
Yeah, but it means a lot then, and it probably means a little bit more now, just for the fact that, hey, I got to do something. I think you'll get to appreciate this even more in 30 years. Looking right there.
So let's talk about that headline in Speed Sport News. You picked a heck of a race to win your first ARCA race. What do you remember about that day?
A lot. I could probably almost replay the whole race. We had engine trouble qualifying, and actually back then there were 2 rounds of qualifying. They'd lock you in on 20 and you'd stand. It was a lot of fun back then. A lot of craziness could happen. So we barely made it. Started 20th and worked our way to the front, and then we pitted for some reason. I don't know why, but we pitted and nobody else did, and it was like, oh wow, surprise. So came back through again and was working our way up to the front, and I think I got the lead in with less than 10 laps to go or so in a very spirited battle with Mike Wallace, and past Bobby was actually leading, and then he went through the back stretch with 2 or 3 to go, and I came around and I was sitting there thinking about the race and thinking about winning, and all of a sudden we came around and there was the white flag, and I just started crying. That was a lifetime dream. I'm like, please don't break. Please. I'd had so many heartbreaks similar to that, and to come around and get the checker, it was pretty amazing.
For a racer that came up on the Indiana short tracks, racing open wheel race cars, did you ever think you would have an opportunity to go to a place like Daytona International Speedway, not only to win a race, but just to race there?
I was hopeful. I had spent my entire waking days trying to get to the Indianapolis 500, and it just wasn't working out. And somebody said, well, go to Daytona. And I said, well, I don't even know anyone. And so actually moved to North Carolina with $100, a pickup truck, a helmet bag, and a duffel bag, and slept at the Charlotte Motor Speedway parking lot for about a week, and with the thought of maybe I could work for a race team, build my own car, and race at Daytona once. It was more important for me to race at Daytona or Indianapolis one time than it was to run 80 local races. I'd won local track championships and this, that, and I was like, I have to run Daytona or Indianapolis. Because when you're a youngster and people are like, what do you do? I'm a race car driver. Now you don't want to, don't use that. But the first question a lot of people was like, well, do you ever run Daytona or Indianapolis? And I would just immediately be crushed. No. Well, when I finally got to run Daytona, it was kind of the world off my shoulders.
So how did running and winning at Daytona in the ARCA Menard Series, how did that help you race at that other big track that you mentioned?
Well, there was a period of time at Daytona where I felt like I was one of the better guys. Won the ARCA race twice, almost won the Busch race, tested for 28 Cup teams over a period of 3 years. 1 year I spent over 200 days testing at Daytona and Talladega. That was all I did. That was my job, that and teaching school. So I made the Daytona 500 in a car that was really bad. I qualified 2.5 seconds off the pole. I think there were 53 cars there, and every practice session we were 53rd. And
Only one way to go that way.
Yeah, maybe it was 56. It was somewhere in the 50s. And anyway, people ever ask if you remember your most perfect race. I drove that was my most perfect race I ever got to drive, was in the 125s, and finished 8th. Dale won, and he was only 50 yards ahead of me. And I took a car that was 2.5 seconds off, and like I say, I felt like I had a perfect day, a perfect race. And the next day we didn't even final practice because we were just so in shock that we made the race. And then number 2, all of my pit crew was going around and getting autographs. I turned around and my whole pit crew was getting autographs from the other drivers that made the race. I'm like, guys, we made the race.
You're in it.
Yeah, and so after making the race and that, and one other story about that, I was getting interviewed after we did go out and do the Saturday practice for a little bit, and one of the reporters asked me how I felt about it. I said, really good. I said, we're up to 43rd on the practice speed chart.
Out of?
43.
There you go.
So we moved up a good dozen spots or so. So that was pretty funny. But right after making the Daytona 500 that year, several of my friends were sitting there. I was like, boy, don't you wish you could have done Indy? And then one of them piped up, well, you could still do it. You're not that old. And I'm like, well, yeah, it'd be great. I would love to do that. And one of my other buddies, it turned into one of those buddy things, like, yeah, you can do it, you can do it, go ahead. And I'm like, well, I'll do it but all you guys have to go the same year. It can't be, I'll help you this year, I'll help you next year. So anyway, about 10 of my buddies jumped in, and we went and blew $1 million in 60 days, and I made the Indy 500.
How about that?
Yeah. So that was a really big deal. And I talked. The world fell off my shoulders after making that race. Just making it didn't matter how I did. I was already too old, 37 years old, rookie, shoestring car. Believe it or not, shoestring on a not wasting, but blowing $1 million. The world fell off my shoulders because I had told every person from the age of 3 or 4 that I was going to race in Indy 500, and all of a sudden, my whole life was like, I don't want to be a liar. So it was like every person I ever told, I was not a liar.
Not a liar. I took my boys for a spin around the racetrack earlier today, and they both said they want to run an ARCA race here. So I think I got my work cut out for me. Huh?
Yeah. But
do you know anybody who might have a seat open?
Sure. You won't have to blow $1 million.
Thankfully, I won't have to. Well, I won't have to one way or the other. They might have to.
Gotcha.
They might have to, but it certainly did lift that weight off. How did you do in that race, by the way?
Broke about halfway. It's okay.
You remember every moment of that race, though?
Mostly, and then I stayed and actually stayed out on pit lane there because the fans can get right up there. And fortunately, being from Indianapolis, I think I knew the whole grandstand. So I talked to each one of them, and then made my way back to the garage area with 10 or so to go. And, I had memorized the whole schedule, Charles, of the Indy 500 because it was in the program every year. 10:52,
Right.
Bombs go off at 6 a.m. I mean, I knew the whole schedule, everything. It rained that morning. And,
A lot that morning.
Yeah, and it threw the schedule off. So.
And the next morning.
It was no, we did race that day, but Jerry Punch comes in the garage area. Well, local boy, Indy, how do you feel? Are the nerves getting you here? I'm like, hey, no, Jerry, I waited 37 years to get here. I can wait another couple hours.
That's right, absolutely. So in addition to your wonderful driving career, you has transitioned to a team owner, and you have had the chance to work with a lot of really great drivers, several of which are in this room right now. That has to be pretty rewarding for you to know that you have helped a bunch of young drivers fulfill that very same dream that you had.
It's very fun because I know what it's like to accomplish lifetime dreams, and to be a part of somebody else's is almost right there just as much fun as accomplishing your own. So it's something that I do really enjoy, and we're not battling for leading laps and winning races. It's been a dozen years or so since we've won a race. I think we can win a race here and there in the right circumstances. But I think there's a need for what we're trying to do, and that's bridge the gap for the kids that don't have the $1.5 million to go and do it, as well as some of the older drivers to come through and live their lifetime dream that they might have waited 40 or 50 years to be able to do, and that is very rewarding. You know, the drivers this year with Michael Maples, he's come in and he's always wanted to do this, and you know, he's going to be back next year, and really looking forward to that. Last year with John Garrett, the older crowd, and then we have, you know, the younger drivers too. You know, Zachary, you mentioned, ran fourth in the points in the E Series the last 2 years with a very limited budget, and I'm really proud to be able to help them put that together.
And I think we need to give Zachary a shout out in one of the most talented, stacked fields we have had all year long. Finished 11th at Bristol. That's a heck of an accomplishment.
It was, because I know what we have to work with, and you know, I watch these drivers and you know what they have to work with, and I know where they rank in my head. Absolutely.
Everybody, Andy Hillenberg. First, before we bring them up, I do want to bring up a guy who won the 2022 ARCA Menard Series Owners Championship as a crew chief, Matt Ross. Matt, come on up.
So yeah, everybody's got I got a lot of respect for everybody that has won championships, and yeah, this year has been very good for me and Lavar as teammates. I really love ARCA. You know, the schedule is super diverse. It's a development series, like you said, and around everybody is very supportive of us, and it really has helped me grow my career so much. When I came here 2 years ago almost in Bristol, I think I've grown so much. English, culture, everything has changed. So it's been a great couple of years, and yeah, just really happy of everything I've been through.
Lavar, we talked a little bit about this yesterday. You come from a racing family. Your grandfather, your mother, your brother, you guys all race. How important is it to you, and I asked you to do this yesterday when we spent a little time together, to look at that list of drivers who have been the ARCA Menard Series Rookie of the Year. It's a pretty distinguished list of drivers. What does it mean to you to add your name to that list?
Yeah, it's pretty special. I think I talked to Ron about this earlier. When I first started with Rev Racing, Legends, I would walk into the shop every single day to see the ARCA cars, and Nick Sanchez and Chase Caber at the time would have the names on the cars, and ARCA was the only division in our team where you get your names on your cars. So every day I just walked into the shop and wanted to be in that ARCA position, to be in the ARCA spot. And like you said, coming from my family, I'm the first driver that really take racing professionally. So just now, tomorrow, I have that chance to really put my name somewhere, like in the ARCA division, that I did something when I was here. It really means something. It's very special to have Ron and Rev Racing, just to have that, and thank you guys for everything y'all did for me.
So we saw the video earlier, 11 thousandths of a second, man. What are we going to do tomorrow to get you 11 thousandths on the other side of that equation?
There's a bunch of different ways that race could have went. But my crew chief all year told me that I'm going to lose one in a heartbreaking way before I'm going to win one, and that was definitely it, and I hope that was it.
I hope that's it too, bud.
Next time, probably maybe just give the 18 maybe a little harder of a hit.
There you go. Matt, you okay with that?
He left.
I don't know if he's okay with that.
I saw that he left.
Oh, so that's why we can say that. All right, good. In any case, one thing that I have noticed from you, from the moment you walked into the ARCA garage till today, you have had a smile on your face, and you have enjoyed every moment you have been here. Even that day, in what I thought was, there was no way you could have a smile on your face. I saw you next to your car, and you managed to smile. How do you do that? How do you keep such a positive attitude?
Like, honestly, it's just, we say this every single day. Like, for us, our saying is, what is life? Like, we're here traveling the country, racing cars. Like, you're going to have bad days, you're going to have good days, but at the end of the day, this is my dream that I played out for myself when I was very young, and we're living it. So, like, I don't ever let the bad races, bad moments affect me long term. It is what it is. I'm always going to have a smile on my face, because at the end of the day, I'm just happy, extremely happy to be in this position.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, we are very proud to have you as our 2024 ARCA Menard Series Rookie of the Year. I'm going to ask you to pass the microphone over to your teammate, your partner in crime. I see you two together. You two are as thick as thieves. You are like brothers. Andres, before I ask about you, how proud are you of Lavar's accomplishments this year?
Very proud of Lavar. I think I said it on an interview during the week, but it really has helped me to have him as a teammate. we're pushing each other a lot in track and off track. And like you said, yeah, we're really cool outside the track. So it's been a really cool year overall. The travel, everything, I really enjoy it the whole weekend overall, especially this weekend.
So you come from a racing family as well. Your dad has won numerous championships racing sports cars. How does it feel to carry on his legacy? And tomorrow, really, all you have to do is show up, start your engine, and you're the ARCA champion. How's that feel?
Oh, it's super good. You know, it just like that extra, that feeling or motivation for me personally and for my family, everything that this involves. You know, because it's just different. You said it, 72 years, and there's never been a non-US driver to win it. So it's just different. I really think that it's just the result of the work. You know, moving away from home, all that is super tough, and just well, it's a great accomplishment for me personally and my family, everything, and yeah, super happy, really proud of that too.
I would be remiss to not point this out. In our 72-year history, as Andres said, we have never had a champion that was born outside of the United States. Andres, born in Mexico City. In that 72-year history, we have never had a black driver as our Rookie of the Year. Lavar is going to lock that up tomorrow. I also want to point out, and I know they're not here, but we will have at least one female driver in the top 5 in the points, whether that's Tony Breidinger or Amber Balkan. What a tremendous way to show the diversity of the ARCA Menard Series, not only in our schedule, but in the success of our drivers. Congratulations to both of you.
Yeah, that
on
also
an
has something
incredible
to do
year.
with the Driver Diversity Program.
That's right.
It's been great.
Yeah, well, we are honored to have you here with us. Congratulations on a terrific season. Everybody, our 2024 ARCA Menard Series champion, Andres Perez, of our Scott, the 2024 ARCA Menard Series.
I do want to say one thing. I made him at the same hotel room tonight, so he might not show up tomorrow.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you have a plan? So he has to show up tomorrow. Do you have a key to lock him somewhere?
I'm not gonna
Is that your plan? All right, everybody. Andres, Lavar, congratulations on a great season. Best of luck to you tomorrow, my man. Thank you. Lavar, congratulations. Hey, we have banners and photos for you two as well. We can hold on to that for you if you want us to. Don't want to jinx anything. If you want us to hold on to it, we will. Lavar's taking his.
There we go.